to these candidates and they're saying, yes, they understand what it takes to create a job. It's risking capital. It's understanding the dynamics of the marketplace, and it's providing a product or service that people are willing to buy. That creates jobs, not government raising taxes, not government telling us what to do and picking the winning and losers. That's been a disaster.
All right, guys, thank you for that.
Thank
Gary
you, Carl.
and Leo Hendry joining us back at headquarters tonight. Students around the country listened to what the candidates said about the meek job prospects in this country when they graduate. Courtney Reagan is a few hundred yards away talking with some of the young men and women here at Oakland University. Courtney?
Yeah, exactly, Carl. We're here at a debate viewing party with about 250 students or so and some others associated with the university. Now, about 49% did declare themselves as a Republican going in, but the debate was very influential. There was Insta-polling going on with one of these devices. Each of the students had one. Very interesting numbers. 42% of students actually changed their candidate preference after listening to the debate. Let's go through some of the numbers. In the beginning, before the debate started, Mitt Romney had 25% of the students' preference, followed by Ron Paul at 19 and Herman Cain at 16. Afterwards, Mitt Romney jumped up to 40%. Newt Gingrich came up from way behind to score 25%. Ron Paul at 11. Rick Perry's flub, Shirley Costam, he went from 6% to 0. Now, students here are highly sensitive about the economy and the financial situation, as evidenced by some of these poll numbers. Listen to this. 27% of students here say that someone in their household has lost a job in the last 2 years. 71% think that things in the U.S. have, quote, seriously gotten off the right track. And 40% say their family's financial situation is worse now than it was in 2008. Carl, back to you.
Courtney Reagan doing some long hours today. Courtney, thank you very much. Let's go back to Larry Kudlow at headquarters.
All right, Carl, thanks very, very much. Now we've got CNBC contributor Keith Boykin, who's Democratic strategist and former Clinton White House aide. CNBC contributor Sarah Fagan, former George W. Bush senior aide and White House political director, and Phil Musser, president of New Frontier Strategy. He served as a senior advisor to the presidential campaign of Tim Pawlenty. Sarah, go to you first. Did Mitt Romney have an off night? And I want to say, not just politically, but substantively, a guy who spent his career in banking and finance had no hint of a response to the world caving in out of Europe. What's your take on Romney today?
Mitt Romney was running in a Republican primary. That's what he was doing tonight. And so he didn't give the substantive answers that one would hope he would give, because he's watching his flack. He's watching those primary voters in Iowa and New Hampshire and wanting to make sure that he doesn't get too far out on China, get too far out on bailouts, get too far out on the auto industry. And that's really what I took from Romney tonight. He just didn't look comfortable.
I want to go to Keith Boykin. Sorry, Keith. Did the Republicans get the job done against Obama? Now, you know, they railed on taxes, class warfare, Obamacare, student loans. Very interesting, the critique of student loans. Rank that. How did Obama do? How did the GOP do?
I think Obama did really well because nobody really showed themselves to be suitable to go up against Obama, I think, in this field. But I think Mitt Romney also did well because nobody really attacked him. Yeah. And it actually helps the Republicans. I think it almost seemed like there was a gentleman's agreement, or a ladies and gentlemen's agreement, I guess, with Michele Bachmann.
Wasn't that odd? Did you find that
nobody
odd
went after him. And it was odd because he's the front runner. If you want to win, they've got to go after him.
Actually, truth be known, they didn't really go after Obama that heavily. It was very interesting to me. I mean, they got their whacks in, but it wasn't the kind of assault. And I go back to Romney, who in some ways has been Obama's biggest economic tormentor. I didn't really hear that much out of Governor Romney.
Well, I think Romney did take on Obama in the first part of the debate in particular. Most of his responses were calibrated towards taking on the president, and that's his strategy. What's really important here, Larry, in 7 weeks, Republicans actually vote in Iowa. Remember, Mike Huckabee won the Iowa caucuses with just over 30% of the vote, and Mitt Romney got 25% of the vote. If Mitt Romney gets 25% of the vote in this crowded field without Perry taking off, he'll win the Iowa caucuses, and that will virtually cement the road to the nomination for Mitt Romney.
I think he cemented the road. Despite what we just talked about, I think he cemented the road tonight because Rick Perry had such an awful evening.
Totally.
I think Rick Perry is out of this thing.
So, okay, I agree. You don't go there. It's too painful. The whole run the clips, it's just too hard. I don't want it. My constitution can't take it at this hour. But I want to ask you about Michele Bachmann. all right? She stood up to the big boys tonight on one really interesting issue, the temporary payroll tax cut, which in my humble opinion was always a terrible idea. And she said that it won't work and it blows a hole in the Social Security budget. She answered my pal Rick Santelli. Now, are you going to give Michele Bachmann some credit? And is she alive in Iowa?
I think she's alive for a while yet in Iowa. The question really is what's going to happen to Herman Cain's support. And if you look at the NBC Wall Street Journal poll, he was flat. He didn't gain or lose in the ballot, but he lost a lot in favorability. He had a
great night tonight.
He had a good night tonight, but he dropped 13 points in favorability in that poll in 1 month. That's a leading indicator. His ballot is going down, and those people are going to go somewhere, and very many of them could end up with Bachmann.
Thank you very much. Got to leave it there. Keith Boykin, Sarah Fagan, and Phil Musser. What a tough crowd. Back to you, Carl.
Thank you very much, Larry. That wraps it up for us tonight from Oakland University in Rochester, Michigan. 7 weeks until the first votes are cast. We'll be seeing you tomorrow morning on Squawk on the Street back in New York. From the hundreds at CNBC here in Michigan and at CNBC World Headquarters who put this special night together, we wish you a very good night. Thanks for being with us.